Now, I don't like katanas. I don't like the way they look, I don't like the way they feel, I don't like the way they're used, I like nothing about them really. But what I dislike even more is people arguing about stuff that they don't know shit about. Hello everyone, I am Snapjelly, and one of my Facebook friends shared a 9gag post. And the post was about longswords versus katanas, and the poster was completely bashing the katana, but nothing what he was saying was true. Like, it literally made no sense at all. So I decided for once to actually defend the katana. Join me in my quest, and I'll show you, I suppose. I'm sure you've all seen this video, but only a few realize that you must be gullible to believe this video. Now, he's talking about the Japanese katana versus the European longsword video, which I will leave a link to in the description below. But I'm gonna say to you right now, nothing about the video is true. Like, it's literally nothing about it makes sense. So it has some entertainment value, I suppose, but don't take it for true, because it's not true. Nothing about it. So I get where the poster's coming from, but the rest, what he's saying, well, you'll see actually in a second. First of all, the longsword used was extremely dull. Hence, it won't put up a good fight against the over-glorified katana. A lot of people say the sword in the video was dull, but I'm actually not sure. Just looking at it up close, you can see a little edge there, and that's actually enough for a sword to be sharp. That's actually as big as an edge would be. And also, if you look at the cutting tests they do, first of all, they cut a cabbage. Now, the sword does not need to be sharp to cut a cabbage. Not at all. But he did cut it from the side, and with not all too much force. So if the sword would really be dull, then he would probably just push the cabbage off. I'm not sure about that though, because I never attacked the cabbage with a dull sword. Secondly, you have the cutting test against their leather armor, which again is not necessarily a proof that the sword is dull, because he doesn't cut at all. Like, you can take any blade, as sharp as it can be, and push it against your skin, and nothing will happen. If you look at the slow-mo footage, he doesn't cut, he just pushes. A sword needs to cut in order to cut. So the sword is fine, the cut is shit. And thirdly, you have the ice breaking test, and of course, they're whacking blocks of ice with swords, and the katana just completely destroys the block, and the longsword doesn't do anything. This is bullshit. Bullets can't even break through ice. No sword packs enough of a punch to break through ice. It's fake. So it's not proof that the longsword is blunt. It's just rigged. That's it. A katana's curved blade provided minimal, almost negligible cutting power compared to longswords. The katana struggles to cut through a plastic phone. The phone even chipped the katana. Are you sure you're using a katana? Not a piece of crap. I mean, honestly, if you're using a $20 wall hanger, then yeah, that's not gonna cut through anything, but it's not a sword. If you buy a katana for like $200, which is not even that much, then you will get a very, very decent sword, which will, if you maintain it, last a lifetime, and it will perform really well. So I don't know where you got that information from, but a sword is not going to be chipped from a phone. No sword would be. No decent sword would be. I mean, you can chip a sword if you smack it against iron, bricks, or giant blocks of ice, but a phone, no. Now this next one is my favorite. Pay attention. The katana's curved blade was due to a law on the 900s, the design law passed by Emperor Suzaku, because he thinks it looks good, not because it has benefits, and this is true. Emperor Suzaku died in the year 952, but the katana was only made in the year 1392. Please tell me how Emperor Suzaku was able to make a law over 400 years after he died. Like, one Google search would have fixed this. You didn't even pick an emperor that's alive during the right era. Like, is there another Emperor Suzaku that I don't know about? Please tell me if there is, because otherwise this is just incredibly stupid. The longsword, however, is able to puncture through heavy medieval armor, and even if you try to slash the armor, it would leave a huge dent, such that the armor user suffers broken ribs and internal injuries. Armor user. More like armor wearer, really. But I'm actually not going to explain why this is not true, because he is actually explaining it himself a couple of pictures later. So I'm just going to hold up for that. A longsword just as sharp as a katana will cut significantly better due to its better balance compared to the katana. Now, first of all, a katana's balance is fine. There is no superior balance. You either have good balance or you have bad balance, and a katana's balance is fine. It's just good. But a balance does not make a sword better, sharper. Like, that's what happens. Like, a sharp sword cuts better. Usually, curved blades cut better than straight blades. I'm not sure if that's the case with the katana, but its balance has nothing to do with how well it cuts. It has to do with how good you're able to cut. Like, if your sword is unbalanced, then swinging is going to be hard. But the cut has to do with the sharpness. If both swords are equally as sharp, then they will cut equally as good. Simple as that. And also the picture that he used, it doesn't really look like the longsword is doing really any better, if you ask me, but hey, that's just me. The crossguard, the straight double-edged blade, the flexible steel, and stop. The flexible steel. Remember what I just said about the armor? Now, if your steel is flexible, that means it flexes, right? It bends. So if you're stabbing something like armor that is made to stop, then what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that flexible steel is going to puncture the armor, or do you think the sword is going to flex? Because that's what will happen. Like, you could, of course, half sword, and that would decrease the amount that the sword flexes. But then still, you would simply not be able to pack enough of a punch to break through plate armor. You would just chip the tip. But you would not go straight for the armor, you would go for gaps in the armor. That's what sword fighting is about. Swords don't pierce plate armor. No sword does. They can't. The pommel and the superior balance and weight of the longsword makes the longsword far more superior than the katana. Now I'm going to tell you something. No sword or any weapon is superior than another weapon. Every weapon is a great weapon in the hands of a master. Like, take the Shaolin monks, they fight with fucking canes, walking sticks. Like, you can say that the sword is a superior weapon against a walking stick, but still, if you put me with a sword against a monk with a walking stick, then I'm gonna lose. Simple as that. No sword is superior. They're just different. They're made for different purposes. I have yet to know non-Japanese swordsmith who prefers the katana over the longsword, but I know quite a number of Japanese swordsmiths who think the longsword is better than the katana. Which ones? Honestly, I'm curious. You say quite a few, so I'm guessing you could name at least 3. Just saying. Like, I don't know that many swordsmiths, and even if you would know the opinion of every Japanese swordsmith, and they all think that the longsword is better than the katana, that still doesn't prove a thing. It's an opinion, and that's it. Just because you make swords doesn't mean that your opinion is more valid. It's obvious that it's fake too, because you know quite a few swordsmiths. How many swordsmiths do you know? Do you just encounter them when you're shopping? Like, hey, you're a swordsmith. Yeah, me too. Oh yeah, that's cool. That doesn't happen. Come on, man. What the hell? And he ends with potatoes. How lovely. Now we've all learned something today. Mainly that the OP is an idiot. We've also learned that if you stuck around this long, you might as well subscribe. And like, of course. Well, I hope this cleared a few things up. I don't think I need to explain any further. So thank you for joining my quest. And, well, I don't know what else to say. I didn't make a script. This is just rambling. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.